Hello there. Welcome. My name is Peter Darcy, and here we are at the mock interview video for PM-50 Project Management, Golden Gate University. This is a mock interview. Basically, we're gonna talk about myself. So I'll try not to take too much time going into that, but let's go ahead and get the interview started. And we will start with the first question. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear the question. I'm going to play it now. I just have a machine talking. So if you don't hear it, I'll just say, tell me about yourself, and we'll go from there. So here we go. Well, my name is Peter Darcy. I am, yes, unlike many other brothers and sisters that I have served with, I am also a 14-year veteran of the United States Air Force. Served 2007 to 2021. Um, without having to talk, because it could go on and on, but I spent my first 6 years upon graduation from tech school at Malmstrom Air Force Base. Malmstrom. A lot of people don't know where Malmstrom Air Force Base is. Hell, I didn't even know where it was until they told me, and it was in Montana. And I worked on the Space Command, which ended up becoming the AFGSC Air Force Global Strike Command for 6 years. I was a missile chef um, as a services apprentice, uh, which is funny because I went to culinary school and I'm 15 year old long time ago. It was my aspiration to be a chef or work in some kind of that. But I got my wish in the Air Force. But the funny thing is, they stuck me in the gym or the fitness center. Never call a gym a fitness center in the military. It makes commanders very angry. They like the word fitness center. But they put me in the fitness center, and I was like, oh, I was in culinary arts, and you guys put me in the gym. Oh, okay. I went with it, and ended up becoming a missile chef for 3 years. And then did my deployment to Afghanistan. Got orders to Texas, and this kind of changed our whole lives, my families. I got forced cross trained into intelligence or a fusion analyst position. And again, when I got that, I remember getting that email shortly after my deployment. I had been at Malmstrom for 6 years almost, and I guess it was my time to go. And the option was to either take the job, change your career, or separate. Take 50 grand and get out, or take the job. So if the single me would have gone this way, but like, yeah, 50,000, are you? Yeah, baby, let's do it. Take that 50 grand. But when you got a family, when you got a wife, and when you got, I think a lot of people know $50,000 is not a lot of money. It really isn't. Yeah, you can do things with it, but it can go really quick. So I decided to take the job and move to West Texas, and spent 9 months down there while I went to tech school, fusion analyst tech school. Got stationed at Beale Air Force Base, and this here in Northern California. Um, was there from 15 to 20, 2015 to 20. I spent then I got my short-term assignment, big one, to Osan Air Base, Korea, South or Republic of Korea. They call it the ROC, Republic of Korea. Was there from the entire COVID mess. The entire Even before it started, I was there. Just before it began, I got stationed in Osan in January 20. By February, everything was shut down. So it was a very interesting assignment. I've done a lot of leadership. I came back to Beale uh, afterwards, and it was kind of the end of towards the end of my career, and I ended up separating out of Beale Air Force Base. Anyway, married, been married for almost 13 years to my wife Renelle, who just started a full-time job here in Marysville. She's working at a hospice insurance, pretty much a whole healthcare facility. Just started. She just graduated. She's just about to graduate with her bachelor's from the University of Phoenix. So we're doing a lot of schooling, man. It's mind blowing, but being in project management 50s has taught me quite a bit. So let's go ahead and move on to the next question. And again, oh, sorry about that. How would people? The question is, how would people that I worked with would describe me? Even in the Air Force, and again, my habits are, I have very good work habits, very articulate work habits. I don't like half ass stuff. I never did. I always tend to work harder than others, longer than others, not because I'm trying to show anyone up. It's not, that is totally not the reason. A lot of it may have to do with anxiety over the years that you can't sleep because is there's something at work. Usually it's a work thing. Something at work I didn't do. Something at work I didn't cross this T, I didn't dot this I. But I always wanted to teach airmen and others to do your work the best ability possible, to the best extent. So if it takes another 20 minutes, so if it takes another half an hour, at the end of the day, do you want a better product or do you want a half-ass? Here it is, scribble it down. No, we've done that. I've done plenty of those. Just fill it in, just get it out, get it out, get it out. We've done plenty of those, but there are projects and there are situations that you really have to pay attention to things. So I know my peers, even the other constituents that I've worked with, know that I'm very down to earth. I'm very down to earth person. I'm from Buffalo, New York. Originally, I guess that's more the about me. Go Bills, by the way. You might be able to see back here. I got a Bills blanket. That's just one of the many things of my Bills thing in my living room. But yeah, from Buffalo, and I guess to finish this thought that you know I've been around, um, seeing different. I've also traveled a lot, so again, I kind of forgot what I was going to conclude, so my apologies on that. But my other, again, I've always taught to work hard, be honest if a mistake was made. Um, I just made a mistake in school, actually. I won't go too much into it, but the best thing I could do about it was be honest. Because if not, then I'm just going to get myself into more trouble or more deeper water. So honesty is the best policy, and I think that's what people see in me. I do work hard, and usually if I don't like to rely on other people. I'll be honest. I'm a very self-sufficient person. What does self-sufficient mean? I didn't know what it meant either until somebody told me, and I was like, what does that mean? I actually prefer to work by myself. I am better to work that way rather than working with teams directly because it gets very confusing. And when I know that I have a project that I can do, whether it's in front of this computer or it's in front of two computers or six screens, or it's not even in front of a computer, I always made sure that those aspects were covered. So again, a lot of I think that's what people would say about me, and I'm a hard worker. In a five, sum it up in five different words. Let's go ahead and move on to the next question. So if you didn't hear it, it says on a project, describe a time when I took ownership. So for this, I'd like to use two different stories. This story I'm going to use an Air Force story, and yes, us the military, we know we got million stories to answer to this question, but it's so hard. It's difficult to pick which one. But I did pick one. As of recent one, my recent years, ending years in the Air Force, and I was actually when I took ownership. I was a signals intelligence analyst. However, I was working with imagery intelligence analysts. They were called one and zeros, one and ones. I was a one and four Bravo. Um, so I wasn't very familiar with imagery, but our team needed to be pretty much all around intelligence analysts. We needed to know imagery, signals, all that stuff. Again, I can't go too far into it because of classification, but there was an Esri course that was out. Some of you may have heard ESRI, Esri. The course was called Imagery in Action. It was a Master Online Operating course. Don't quote me if that's right, but MOOC. It was basically an online course. So I had taken the course and completed it, but I also had 10 or 12 different airmen that also needed to do it because it was under their job. They were one and one, so it was more mandatory for them to complete it. I was not a one and one, but for my overall knowledge, I wanted to complete this course so I knew what they were, how they do their job and what they look at and what software programs to use. So I made a tracker and I pitched this idea to my commander. Um, Not my squadron commander, but like my field commander, O2, And he was like, "Yeah, let's, track everybody that needs to do it, when they started it, when they completed it, and if they're not complete, where are they? Excel spreadsheet, Boom. I had a tracker made that I had, again, I think it was like 11 different airmen that had to do this. I had done it, so I was leading the way now. I took it over and I put it in my pocket and I ran with it. Um, and it was successful. It was great. It was simple. I the airman, I would send an email like, hey, just a reminder, blah blah blah. Make sure you get it done. There was a deadline on this. It was like a 6 week course, so you could do it week by week. But it ended up being successful. Everyone got the project done. They got the certification from Esri, imagery and action mock. Actually, I think I still got mine. I, I think I do. I don't know. I'm gonna show. I've already got the. I'm gonna go and show it anyway. Why not? Yeah. Here's my certificate from this course. Couple years old. Nothing too fancy, but there's your proof there. Thank God I still keep all my military papers. Huh? All right, so let's go ahead and move on. I think to the final question and see if it'll play here. So it says describe a time I was involved in a project that failed. So for this, I'm going to use something more recent. And yeah, I've worked some odd jobs since I've been out of the military. Walmart was one of them. I was only there for about 2 months. We don't want to talk. We don't need to talk about Walmart here. It was one of those jobs I just needed. And then I'm thinking when I'm working overnight stock, I'm 38 years old. This job would have been perfect 20 years ago, 15 years ago. Why am I doing this now at almost 40? Um, yeah, we're going to skip that. But however, I did work at a concessions. I worked at a concert venue, Toyota Amphitheater, seasonal work in Wheatland. It's actually Sacramento, but it's not Sacramento. It's in Wheatland, California. Some of you who may know the area, the Hard Rock was built right down the street about a few years ago. This amphitheater's been here good, probably 20, 25 years. It's old. One of the few outdoor amphitheaters actually left in the state. There's not a lot of outdoor shows anymore. A lot of things are indoor. A lot of casinos are building indoor venues. I was a concession supervisor of a new first year, I guess you can, we'll say project, because it really was. It's called Hawking, Hawking. Hawking. And, well, why is it called that? They name, so the venue has different vendors all over the park. And my job was to supervise. I was a concession supervisor. So I would supervise the hawkers, quote unquote. Basically, hawkers is just another way of selling. Go hawk. I tell them go hawk. That means go sell. So, I load up the guys with their product. I sell off the hall. Basically, that's 95% of what we sold was booze, beers, vodkas, mixed drinks for all the drunk concert goers. But the challenge was the resources. And one particular concert that featured Luke Bryan, he played here in July. It was one of the first concerts. However, it was the most, I guess you could say, eyes on concert because some of you may know Luke Bryan's quite the popular guy. He's like on American Idol now. I don't watch American Idol, but I know he's on there. He's got a lot of money. He's a big guy. Everybody and their mom was there. I had bosses. I'm making, and I'll be honest, I made $17 an hour with this job. This was seasonal. This was just another 100, $200 a week. This is not a career, but the problem was having the resources, i.e., running water, supplies, rotos. And what a roto is basically a big, giant red bin where you can hold a whole bunch of drinks and keep them cold. That was the number one issue because my trailer, which had all my inventory, I had like a little white trailer, and that was all my inventory. That was kind of my baby. Well, the trailer broke down a lot. The stupid AC thing would break, so everything in there was just warm. Who wants a warm water? Who wants a warm beer? You're going to a concert. No, not a lot of people do. Apparently, in Europe, it's a delicacy to drink warm beer, but we're in America when a lot of people don't drink warm beer. So I had to come up with a way to keep things cold. That simple. But it wasn't because we don't have running water. Yes, we have ice. I had an ice chest right next to my trailer, and making sure that it stays cold. Here's the other problem to that. The rotos, a lot of them leaked. So I would create a water bath. I already tried filling the rotos with ice and just ice and put the drinks in there. Well, it turns out after a few hours, especially on like a 100-degree day, all the ice coagulates and it just turns into one giant chunk of ice. And now it's a problem. Nothing's being kept cold. Ice is solid. So in order to do that, I made the crazy scientific idea, thinking rock, thinking rocket science here, to make an ice bath, to mix water in with ice to keep it cold. But the problem is I had leaking rotos. So when I would go down the hill, and I mean, you might have heard the thing Jack and Jill go up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Well, I did plenty of that because I literally had to do that with buckets of water. Go down to the kitchen, fill up the water, come back up, and I'm talking like 5 flights of stairs up to the top of the hill where I worked, and put the waters in there. Of course, I'd have my guys do this a lot, but for this particular concert, it did not work. Too many people, too much activity. There were 18,500 people at this concert, but the worst part of it was the weather. This day, oh God, it was 110 degrees flat. And I was out there since noon in the sun, up on the hill. So now, they can add 10 degrees. I also told my guys always add 10 degrees to where we are because we're on top of the hill. We're closer to the sun. We have blacktop. So just automatically assume it's 115 today, 120. I almost passed out. I had to go in the trailer to cool off before I decided to almost hit the ground because I was getting close to passing out. The heat was terrible. My guys were sweating. Frustration was happening. I had to break up a fight. Apparently, that's a part of the job description. And at the end of the day, nothing was cold because there was so much other stuff happening that I could not focus my attention onto my own job and keeping product cold. It just couldn't happen. It couldn't happen. I'm over here. I'm over here. I got to walk. I've got the walkie-talkie. I'm wearing the black supervisor shirt, and then because I'm like the only supervisor in a nice radius, they yell at me for everything. I'm the problem. I got to come solve this and do this. What I'm just trying to do is just hawk my people. So maybe again, not so much. It still can be a business failure because we could have made more sales. Hence, we had the proper tools to use, i.e., running water. Didn't have running water up there. I had to go down, and you know how much of a pain in the butt that can be, just to get water. Other supplies. I had to always go down or call somebody. So, um, although I tried to make it work, it was a season long thing. It did work and it didn't work. There were good days, there were not so good concerts, but that's kind of my story there. So, all right, I'd like to wrap this up. Again, this is Peter Darcy. This is my mock interview. I hope that everyone got something out of this, and I hope that my audio and you could hear me okay. I had to do a little bit of tweaking um, with my audio wasn't recording, but again, I hope that you got something out of this. I thank you for spending the 18 minutes to listen to me today. And if you have any feedback, comments, please let me know. Reply. Again, this is Peter Darcy, and thank you for listening. Goodbye.